G'day guys, how you going? It's Iski here, and welcome to part 3 of, I guess, my attempts to revive a couple of Screen Technics projector screens that I found at the dump for free. Yeah, you heard it, I found 2 projector screens, the expensive Screen Technics brand, and yeah, they cost over $3,000 each. They are both 150 inches and they are both the 4:3 aspect ratio, which is kind of the old school TV screen, I guess you could call it. But yeah, I found 2 of them and I got them home, and that's what we're trying to do in this kind of group of videos. We're trying to fix them. I've actually decided to keep one of them. I'm actually building a dedicated home cinema for myself at the moment, and I thought, why not just stick it in the ceiling anyway? I do watch a lot of the old school TV shows, so I think it'd be kind of fun to have its own kind of screen just to watch, you know, massive screen just to watch those particular shows. So yeah, I'm building that into my ceiling right now. I'm actually looking at where it's going. I'm actually looking at the screen we're going to be fixing today. But a bit about that later. Listen, I'll just give you a rundown of what we've done so far. So this is a 3-part group of videos. The first part, basically what we did was we actually tested at least one of them. When I found these screens, whoever dumped them basically cut the power cord as well as the IR receiver right at the butt, where the right at the base of the canister. So I had to make a new power cord, and I also had to source myself another IR receiver. I also had to source myself a couple of remote controls, which I found on eBay for $20, and I also had to buy, what was it, the IR receiver, which I bought one of those for $30, and that's cool, awesome. So part 1 was me basically getting one of these projector screens up to the point where I could actually just press this to see if it actually worked, and it did, and it worked great, and I was very happy. So I decided I'm going to hold on to that one. That's going in my ceiling. But the second one, I thought to myself, you know, I'm going to have to sell this. This particular screen, not many people are going to want a 4:3 aspect ratio screen. Why don't I cut that down to a 16:9? So that will effectively turn it into a 137 inch 16:9 screen. And that's what we did in the last video, part 2. We actually did that, and it came out looking fantastic. I mean, seriously, it looks like it's been done in the factory. I'm really happy with it. I'm actually thinking about keeping that as well, but no, I won't. But yeah, so that's what part 2 was. Now part 3 is, I actually discovered with that second screen, the one that we cut down, I discovered that there is actually a fault with it. And the fault is that you can actually roll it down, it comes down, but it won't actually retract. It won't actually go back into the canister. So yeah, why won't it do that? So that's what, well, I know why. I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you what we're going to be fixing. Basically, you can hear the motor humming. I'll actually take you in there and we will experience it together. I'll show you the symptoms, but yeah, basically you can actually hear the motor humming, and that's interesting. So when I heard that, I thought to myself, I am actually going to take the weight of the bar and see if the screen goes up. And I lifted the bar up and the screen started going up because it had no weight there, you see. And to me, that is just a classic sign of a bad motor start capacitor. And I thought to myself, wow, that's an easy, should be an easy fix. It should be a very easy fix. And I did a bit of research, and I can't find a single person online or on YouTube who has the same problem. I can't find anyone doing this fix or even talking about it, which to me sounds strange, because you would think that it would be a common thing, especially being an electric motor. The capacitors always die after a while. But anyway, so that's what this video is going to be about. We're going to actually pull down this projector screen, and we are going to pull the motor out and try and fix it. I actually sent Screen Technics an email this morning. They got back to me asking me to call them up, and they probably give me a few tips. So I did. I called them up, and first of all, they were really impressed with me. They said, we're really impressed that you actually diagnosed that correctly. And I said, oh, okay, really? I didn't think that would be anything to be impressed about, but thank you. And then they said, we're even more impressed that you're going to try and fix it. And I was like, really? Like, doesn't this happen all the time? And they said, listen, it does happen, but people don't try and change, just, replace the capacitors. People just buy new motors. I said, well, how much is one of those? And they said 350. I was like, well, I'm going to fix this for $3.50. So that's how much a capacitor costs. These guys, by the way, were super nice, awesome guys at Screen Technics. Can't recommend them enough. But yeah, so $350 if you want to fix that. And I said, surely there's people out there that are doing what I'm about to try and do, or I reckon I'll do it. And they said, well, the last person that we know of that did it like years and years and years ago, like in the freaking 90s or 2000s or something like that. And I was like, seriously? And they said, yeah, we just basically sell new motors. And then I was like, oh. But what I did discover was that there is two different types of motors for these projectors. There's like a short stubby motor that has a capacitor on the outside. I think you find them in most of your cheaper screens maybe. But then you have these tubular motors that are about that big, and they slide inside the tube that the fabric rolls around. And I said, and looking at the photos on Google, I can't see any capacitors. And I said to them, listen, which type of motor is it? Is it this particular or that? And they said, no, it's the tubular style. And I said, okay then, so where is the capacitor located for that? And he said, it's inside the motor. So awesome. We have to pull the motor out. We have to open the motor up, locate the correct capacitor and replace it, which won't be hard. There's got to only be one capacitor in there, right? So, and they're normally pretty big, these capacitors. So we'll work it out. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're actually going to be, I guess, pioneers in a way, and we're going to see if we can do this on video. We're going to publish this and see if we can try to kind of, inspire other people who might be having the same issues to kind of tackle this themselves. And because listen, if you're going to pull your motor out to replace an entire motor for $350, you may as well just pull it apart and replace the capacitor, right? What, it's got to be maybe an extra 15 minutes work. So I reckon let's do that. It's good to recycle and kind of save stuff, and so that's what this channel's about. So that's what we're going to do today. But for now, I have to go and find my mate to see if he can help me pull this off the wall. But also, yeah, I'll take you in there now and I'll show you what's going on, and we'll see if we can fix it. Alrighty, so listen, I'll quickly turn you around and I'll show you the cinema. If we just turn around very slowly. There you see that big hole in the wall. Let's just walk through there, and this is my future home cinema that I'm currently building. If you're into all of this stuff, check out my playlist for Ant's Super Cinema. I'm currently building this on YouTube. It's going to be awesome. But you can see the screen that I'm talking about. It's down there, right at the front there, towards the, right at the top of the ceiling. So what I might quickly do is just set you here. I'll just sit you down there, and I will go around and show you exactly what's happening. I might just lower you down a little bit. Okay, so I've got the remote control in my hand. Now this may not actually work. It might not actually go up again. Let's try it. So here we go. It's coming down. All right, let's stop it about there. Okay, so I am actually going to hit the up button and see if it goes up. No, you can hear the relay click in, and you can hear the motor, it's trying to. But let's see if I actually take the weight of this bar, if it will go up. It probably won't, because I've been doing this a lot now, and I think the capacitor is completely drained of juju. So let's just see if it works. Oh yeah, it's working. See how it's going up? I'm holding it. If I let it go, it's just struggling. But there you go, that's what's happening. So I'll do it again. We'll stop that. Now I'm going to hit the up button. There you go. So I'll just put the remote down on the shelf. Let's just lift this up again. There you go. See how it's bringing it up? If I let go of it, it's struggling, but it finally gets it in there. But yeah, you don't want to be doing that every single time you want to retract your screen. And there comes a time where it actually, I've been doing this so many times that basically just the weight of the screen itself, even when you're holding the bar up and taking the weight off, just the weight of the screen, the canvas, it's enough to kind of, you know, make it not want to go up again. So yeah, I've done that, and I've had to actually start rolling the roller myself, and that's kind of kicked it off. So I don't want to do that too many times now. So I'm just going to stop that, and I'm going to unplug it. I'm going to go and get my mate next door, and we are going to pull it down, I guess, and take it up into that showroom onto the table, because that's why I started this. That's why I started this video in my showroom, basically, because it's got this nice big table here. I thought we'd be able to stick it on there. It's definitely going to be, you know, too long, but yeah, that's why I thought we'd do it in there. It's going to be a lot easier. There's a lot of light in there, and I'd rather do it on a table than on the carpet. So let me go and grab my mate, and we'll get started. Alrighty, let's do this. Okay, so we got our screen. It's over there on my cutout table. You can see it's a fair bit longer. Yeah, but the end we want to work on is at that end, so that's pretty cool. So that's awesome. What I've got also happening whenever I do a bit of a, you know, a project like this, I like to have a movie in the background. Most people have a TV, but I have a 150-inch cinema screen. This is my home cinema that I'm building on YouTube at the moment, and it's cool. It's great. So that screen down there, this movie, I think it's called Greenland, that's on. That screen is just a screen I got off someone on Facebook Marketplace. He said he paid $16.50 for it. I actually went over and I just wanted to buy this projector. Actually, no, it was this one down here, this bottom one, EHTW 5600, I think it is. And he said, mate, take the screen, $50. I've only had it for 2 years, and I paid $16.50 for it. So I would have been stupid not to take it. So yeah, that's what we're using at the moment to watch our movie on. So that's cool. In fact, the sad part is I am going to miss this hole in my wall when I have to build that in. Yeah, I actually quite like working up here with a nice movie playing. It's really relaxing. I really quite like it. So I don't know. I'm not even. Who knows? I should actually leave that. Actually, I should actually open that wall a little bit wider, shouldn't I? And maybe have a third row of seating up here, because we are higher than the second row. So that'd be pretty cool. But hey, what's going to be cool is when I do close it in, I am putting myself a nice Bilbo Baggins Hobbit door there. That's how we will enter it from the back here, basically where that set of drawers are. We'll have a nice, probably green Hobbit door. So that's the plan, but we're getting off track. Let's turn our eyes back to this. All right, so this is our Screen Technics 150-inch screen. Found this at the dump. Now, I'm pretty sure the motor that we want to get to is in at this end. Like, I'm probably 99% sure that that's where it is. So I'm going to have to take this cover off. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's normally another screw there, but I grabbed it for something else at the other end. And I'm not sure. We might have to take these. Let me just move over. We may have to take these two here, these two there. Are there any underneath? I can't feel anything, but there seems to be 4 screws. I bet you we have to take that off. I reckon that's some kind of bracket that's holding the entire, tube in place, but or motor in place. But we're going to find out pretty soon. So let me set you up. I guess I'll set you up here just for this part. Not that you can really see too much. Maybe I should set up a light. I do have a torch here. So got ourselves this cool little Bunnings LED torch. It's got a magnetic base, but this is aluminium. I seriously thought that was steel because this was so heavy, but they use alloy, so that's really cool. But what we might do, actually, let's just bring here, put you on a side. That's got to be steel, right? Yep, that'll do it. Okay, let's Move this around. Okay, so let's take this end off and have a look. This DeWalt driver, by the way, I found at the dump. I found a bag, a Makita bag, full of tools, full of DeWalt cordless power tools at my dump. And yeah, how cool was that? And it was full of batteries, and it was also had chargers in there. All the batteries were dead, but I jump started them with a Milwaukee battery of all things, and that was pretty cool. And I jump started them, and then I put them on the charger that came with it, and they all all but two started. So that was a cool thing. All right, now I might have to kind of put my head in the way here, but that looks interesting. Yep, so this has definitely got to come out of here. So that's, I'm sure that this is actually going up and across that way and that way and that way, and that's what these screws are up the top. So we will see if I can do this with you in my hand. We will take these screws off. Oh man, they're not very, okay, they don't have to be big, I guess. Let's pop that there. Alright, move you around. At least my camera gimbal's... I'm pushing this along. Hang on a second. Let me just set you down. This is going to be a lot easier if I don't have you in my hand. Alright. Yeah, my camera gimbal's been spacking out a lot lately. I dropped it a couple of times. And it still works fine, but you kind of get to a certain angle and it really, it just flops over, you know. Okay, so, excuse me. Let's have a look here. What do we got? So, I'm thinking that might actually pull out. I'm going to have to push this all the way forward a bit, I think. Alright, that's better, I think. Let me set you up here. Sorry about this award-winning camera work. But I think this should probably pull out. I'm not sure what these bolts are doing. I'm sure, well, we'll soon find out. But yeah, I'm not sure. We'll see what happens if I just pull this out. We might have to disconnect this these wire. Let me just, there we go. So what I've done is I've pulled it, and it's obviously, I've pulled it out as far as I can there, and it's obviously kind of held in at that end. So it's actually come loose and dropped down, so we're going to have to kind of pick it up at that end as well, which kind of sucks, but hey, it's all a learning experience. You guys, if you've got to do it, you can learn by my mistakes. So what I think we probably could have got away with, maybe, is if we had actually undone these two bolts or screw bolts or whatever they are. But I just want to pull it out a little bit further so I can see what's going on. No, I'm actually going to undo this. So I'm going to grab a shifter. Alright, let's have a look. What do we got? Can you guys see? Yep. Oh. Oh, here we go. Oh, look, the whole thing's pulling out. So the motor is okay. So just had to give it a little bit more of a pull, but you can see that this is actually coming out. So these wires, I think we're going to have to disconnect this little wiring harness. Yes, just so I think. Now we have ourselves 1, 2 little Phillips heads there. So I just want to disconnect that because it's just, you know, held onto this end bracket here, and that will make life a bit easier. Let me just go and get a small Phillips head. I should probably bring this entire toolkit over there, but We'll be right. Alright, so I'm just going to disconnect this. I guarantee there are some instructions on how to actually replace this motor. That would be nice if they had actually shared that information with me, because yeah, that would have made life a little easier. But oh well, we'll work it out, let other people know. Now if we just get that out of the way and I pull this a little more, okay, so interesting. So that's our motor. That is the motor, so that's coming out up to there. So if I want to pull this whole thing out right, if I keep pulling this, that's just going to put strain on the other end. So what I might actually do is feed that back in there, because you pull that, you're not going to be able to pull that out the length of the motor, I don't think. So let's see, maybe, why don't we take a photo of that? Hey, hang on, we don't really need to take a photo of that because they're all kind of color coded. I was going to say we should just disconnect this side here, because this is actually going to the motor. We should disconnect these and then we can pull this entire end out, hey? What do you think? So we probably need a couple of tiny little flatheads to get in there. We just remember white goes to black. Well, look, so it's brown to brown, brown to brown, blue to blue, earth wire to earth wire, and then black to white. Cool, so that's easy. I am just going to, I don't know if I might actually have to freeze this video and go and have a look for a flathead that tiny, because that's pretty tiny. And I might need my light. Oh no, that works, that fits in really nicely. Alright, so are we disconnecting the right one? So we want to disconnect the one that's going to the motor. Alright, so let's undo that. Oh, I like the ends on them. Ah, there we go, got it. Don't know if that was the screwdriver or the, but who cares. Alright, so we have that disconnected now. I'll just go and get some pliers. We can cut this cable tie. Awesome. So, is it that easy? Let's just... Now, before I go any further... Now, listen, I'm not really exactly sure. I'm actually just going to put that back there. This is going to... You're probably going to laugh at me, but I want to mark, before I start... let me just push this over here a bit further. Before I go pulling things completely out and turning them around, it might be prudent if we actually mark with a marker, maybe a white, or I'll have to use a white because a black won't show up. It might be worth marking where that roller and the motor meet. But excuse me, I just have to find the pen. I've got a white paint pen somewhere. I don't think it's necessary, but you never know. Yeah, okay, I'm back. So I couldn't find my paint pen. In fact, I don't think I need to do this. I normally mark anything when I'm pulling it apart, but I don't think I need to, as long as you can tell this is the top of the motor, because that's where the power's coming out. And plus, I'm pretty sure there's like the limiting switches underneath here that set the limit, fall, and all of that kind of stuff are down there. But oh, listen, I'll just that does work on that black, so I'll just put that like that. This should be keyed anyway as well, I would imagine. So let's just keep pulling this out. Oh, okay, so we've come to something else. Listen, I want to push this whole thing back that back that way because I'm running out of space here. So I just have to move some of this crap, this sewing machine at this end so I can make more room at that end. Alright, there we go. Alright. Interesting. Okay, so alright. So you can see where I've put a mark just here. Well, I should just put a mark there, but it doesn't matter because it's keyed. You can actually see that this is keyed with that. But listen, just making marks really doesn't hurt, you know, so do it if it makes you feel better. So I'm just going to put that here. Now I'm sure this is like some kind of let's just, oh, there we go. Yeah, so that kind of keeps everything centered, the motor centered, I guess. So this should keep coming out. Alright, so same with that thing. I am actually just going to, not that it means, not that it's going to hurt, not that it's going to help. Let's stop gibbering. So let's keep pulling. What else? Oh, that's it. Awesome. So that's our motor. Wow. I have no idea how the hell you get into one of these things, but we're going to find out. Alright, so let me just set you up here and I can put you here. So they're those limiting set switches that I was talking about. Okay, I guess the first thing we're going to do is pull these off. Pull, yeah, these off. I don't know if you saw that in the camera then. Let me just move it back around here where the light's a bit better and both cameras can see me. I should get a ring spanner for this. It's got some lock washers on there. Awesome. So that's just a bit of packing, is it? It must just pull off, I'd say. Oh, hang on before I do that. I know this sounds stupid, but I am marking that as well. Let's put a mark there. And mark there. Let's pull that off. If that comes off. Coming. There we go. Very good. All right. And then we're left with that. So, if I have a good look at this thing, let's come down and look at this end. Excellent camera work, Iski. Now, I don't know about this end. Can we pull this off? You can actually see that these pieces are keyed there all the way around. So you'd think that this should just slide off as well, maybe. Let's see if we can pull that out. How do you get that out? You know what, I don't know. So we might have to go the other end, but I'm looking. Can you see there's these little holes here? 1, 2. I wonder if they could be spring-loaded little buttons that you have to push in and then stuff slides out. Let's just grab a screwdriver. No, it's not pushing down at least. Unless you can't get in, but I'm sure you can. It's on this side as well. That's kind of not good. But anyway, let's have a look at this end. Let's just keep going. And let's take these two screws off and see what we have. Just go grab my driver. Let's take these off. Let's see what happens when we slide this out. Alright, so that comes out like that. Anything else come out? I don't really like the idea of messing around with this end, but I think we have to. I think this is the end everything happens. I don't like this end because it's got these kind of limiting things. But that's okay, I have to reset all of this limiting stuff anyway, because remember I cut this screen down to a 16:9, so I do have to actually adjust the how far, you know, it rolls up. I think I cut half a meter off. But I think, just by looking at this, I don't know about getting this end off. You know what I should do? I should actually have a look on YouTube and see if anyone's actually messing around with these tubular motors, because you see, I mean, I've looked, you know, for projecting screens fixes, but no one's doing anything with these things. But these things are in like awnings, roller door awnings and roller awnings and things like that. But what I'm looking at is, if you have a look down there, can you see right down the end there? If I had that light here, you'd see it. Hang on a second. There's actually a Torx screw down there. Can you see that? Yeah, you can kind of see it right down the end. That's a Torx bit. I've got a feeling I'm going to have to undo that and pull that out and see if we can get in there like that. I'm assuming I'm assuming, but you know, it has to. You'd think it'd be this end. I mean, this is where all the wires are going in, so you'd think that that's where the capacitor would be, at this end rather than the other end. But I'm just talking to myself now. Listen, I'm just going to go and find myself a Torx bit that would actually fit in that. I don't know what the size is, but you're not even seeing it. But give me 2 shakes and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so I've got this one. I'm just... Oh, that might be the right size. That might work. Let me just see. Just push that in there. Oh, it is. And it's turning. It's loosening. Okay. So let's just keep on going. So what brand of motor is this? It is a Sim... What's that say? A Sim U. Interesting. There we go. So we pull that Torx bit, screw out. Let's keep going and see if we can pull this off now. See if anything else comes off. I'm not sure. I have a feeling that maybe this power cord here is held in by this little clip, so when you pull this out, maybe it's actually the power cord is stopping this from sliding out, because it's kind of probably got some teeth in there that's pushing into the outer casing of the power cord. So we might have to kind of relax that a bit. But, listen, just give me a few minutes and I'll see if I can work this out. In the meantime, I'm just going to grab this sticky tape dispenser and set you up just there. There we go. Now we got light. Okay, so Where did I put that screwdriver? Alright, so there's something else I just discovered that you can actually adjust, and it looks like you could probably take this end off. I don't know if that's going to have any help, but to what we're doing, but can you see there's those two little tabs there? Now, if I can set you up. This is so awkward, sorry guys. This is very awkward. But if you have a look at these two tabs there, they look like they press in and then this end piece will slide off. I don't know if that's going to help our cause, but let's just pull stuff apart. Okay, I'm going to pull that out now, but first of all, I am going to mark that just in case. Can we see that? All right. Okay. Somfy. So it's got Somfy written in there. And I've heard of that brand. They're really good tubular motors. But maybe that, what was that other name? That Simu is kind of the model of a Somfy brand. Alright, so can we actually pull any more stuff off from this end? So these actually do go down. Probably. I could probably keep going with this end. It looks like these things are meant to kind of, you know, push down. You'd probably slide more of this stuff out. But before I go any further with this, and I just want to keep looking at this end up here. In fact, can we slide this off? Yep, we'll get that off. I want to look here. I want to know why that torque screw was in there, what it was doing. Was it doing anything? At least we know it's a Somfy motor. I can actually jump on YouTube now, and actually that's what I might do just quickly. Jump on YouTube, see if anyone's doing any maintenance to a Somfy motor. See if they've got inside. Feels like a nice solid motor, you know. I actually should, hang on, I'm going to turn off my projector. It's pretty stupid just wasting the bulb if I'm not watching it. There we go. Okay, listen, I'm going to jump on YouTube and see if anyone's, you know, pulling these things apart, and see what I can come up with. Otherwise, we'll get it open, we'll keep plodding along, but sometimes it's just easier if you can get some advice from other people, you know. All right, back in a sec. Okay, I'm back. So that took like 2 minutes. We might be on the right track. It's definitely this end. I did find some guy on YouTube. His channel was called Motorized, M-O-T-O-R-I-S-E, and he does these 2 to 3 minute videos on basically these type of motors by the looks of things. and wish I could do my videos in that, you know, shorter time. And he was working on a motor, and it was a Somfy motor, but it was different to this, a different model, and he basically, you know, pulled out this torque screw, but it wasn't from here, it was from here, and it was a different way, but he ended up just getting a hammer and just tapping it. So I'm going to give that a shot. I mean, let's just give it a tap and see what happens. So see if anything slides out. Oh yeah, it is too. Look, it's actually starting to give. So doesn't seem to be going any further than that. This is a pin, I think. Look at this. I just discovered something. Can you see this this raised bit here? I just discovered, I brought the light down to it a bit further, and this is actually a little metal case on top of this. And you can see here, if you put your screwdriver here, you can slide this out. I don't know if that's going to do anything, but that is designed to slide out. In fact, before I pull that off, I am just going to, it looks exactly the same on both sides, but I'm just going to put a mark there. That's the end bit. Let's just keep going with that. So that comes off. Oh, I bet you this separates then. Let's go. Oh, look at that. Look what we did. Oh, hang on. There we go. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now let's look around for something else. Ah, look at that. There's a Torx bit there. So we have to undo that and then give it a tap. Oh, it's one of those ones with the little dicky bit in the center. I think I've got some of those pieces. Yeah, hang on. I'm going to go and see if I've got some torque piece, you know, tools that actually work on these. Pretty sure I do. Back in a sec. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. I think I've got some tools in here. Now, let's see. Let's have a look at this one. See, it's got the hole in it. That should... Oh, that's what fits perfectly. Let's undo that. Okay, so just to recap. So that it's like a sleeve, like a collar that went around there, and that little kind of slider. Isn't that a cool way of doing it? What a cool invention. I did see him, the torque screw that he pulled out, his was here as well, but there was a different way of getting to it, I think, yeah. Whereas I just assumed that my torque screw was the one that I pulled out of there. So we could probably put that torque screw back. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do now before I go any further, is reinstall this torque screw that I pulled out earlier on, just in case it needs to be in there when I pull this out. You can always take it off again. So there we go, we put that back. Now let's get our hammer. Or just use our hands. There, it looks like it's coming just by wiggling it. There we go. Can you see that? Well, that's what we want to see. Alright, so we're in, guys. We're in. We're in like Flynn. So let me just put you on a different angle, I guess. Maybe mix things up a bit. Get all artsy with my camera work. Alright. So get my awesome lighting over there. Now let's pull this out. Ah, look. What do we got here? Could that be our culprit? That's our culprit. That's what we have to replace. Awesome. Now let's just keep going. Let's keep pulling it out. Oh man, it goes for ages. That wire goes all the way down to the end. Yeah, let me just leave that there, but that's it, guys. This is what we have to replace. This little sucker. So let's actually unwrap that. Ah, look. Oh, okay. So these wires here are not connected to this capacitor or condenser. That guy, I think he said, he didn't actually have a video of him doing this, by the way. He said, if you want me to replace the condenser, let me know. I'm like, yeah, mate, that would have been helpful. But it's pretty simple. That's what we got to replace. And look, they've even just got spade bits there. So it's just a matter of pulling them off and pulling them on, pushing them on. So, listen, I don't think I'm going to be able to take this stuff off without actually completely ruining that padding. But I think I'm going to give it a go. I might just grab a Stanley knife. Just run it along there because I think there's some tape there that needs to be cut. There we go. Now let's undo that. So that's just going through there. Beautiful. How good is that? So we can just pull, by the way, it doesn't matter what, see these wires, it doesn't matter which one goes on what with these capacitors. But if you want, you can just put not that we're going to be using this one again, but put a black mark on the black wire. But no, it doesn't matter. So when I replace all my clothes dryer capacitors, let's see if I can pull that out. There we go. This one here, there we go as well. So that's our culprit. Now we're going to have to keep going with this so we can, there we go, now we can see what to order. How good is that? Man, this is some strong tape. Wow. Awesome. So what do you want? What do you look for when you're ordering one of these things? Well, for a start, you want to take the measurements of it. You want to buy one that's the same, especially for in here. Although that is a lot of room in there, in that tube. That's a fair bit of room. Oh, hang on, no, it has to actually plug into this, doesn't it? Does it slide in there? No, well, you've got some room, so it doesn't have to be, it actually doesn't have to be exactly. You can go, slightly larger, I guess. But yeah, we're looking at this. You normally go for, see this I don't know if you can see that. Bloody light's too sharp on there. Hang on. There we go. Yeah, so when you order a capacitor for a start motor capacitor, you always look at this UF, which stands for microfarad. So you want a 3.3. I've never ever heard of one like that, but do a bit more research, and you want 425 volt and just take the dimensions and see if we can get something close to that. But what I'm going to do, you know, is I'll just type in eBay Somfy capacitor, motor capacitor, and I guarantee you we'll probably get flooded with some, you know, with a bunch of these things. But that's what you normally look for. That's got a 3,3. I'm assuming that's point. I'm not sure, but I'll do a bit more research. But yeah, so it's got 3,3, which I'm pretty sure in Europe, doesn't Europe use the commas as a point rather than a decimal point? This is exactly what we're after. It's going to suck because it's going to take weeks for this thing to get here, unless I can find it at JCar. But that is the problem. That is why this here is why the screen is not going up. We need to replace this. So guys, you saw how long that took me to get in there. So far it's taken me a long time, right? Because this is the very first time that I've had to do it. But in the future, pulling this motor apart and getting to this part would probably take you less than 10 minutes. It's that easy. Easy, you know, less than 10 minutes. So why would you spend $350 on a brand new motor when you can probably spend, what, $5, if that, on one of these things? We'll put it back together and get it going. But I'm just going to go and see if I can find on the YouTube, sorry, on the Google, this kind of capacitor. Awesome. Come with me, guys. I think I've found what we're looking for. Let's go into my room here where my computer is, and I'll just give you a quick look. If you want to order one of these things, I just typed it into eBay, and this has come up. So it's a little bit more expensive. Well, listen, these are probably specifically for these particular motors, but you probably get them cheaper. But look at this. So these came. I just typed in. Hang on, let me just scroll up. I just typed in Somfy capacitor, and we got all of these different ones. And you can actually see the 3, 7, 2.8, 3.3. That's what we're after. But $16.73 from France and $15 postage. I don't think so. Let's see if we can find it any cheaper. But hey, listen, $30 is better than $350, right? So that's probably worth getting. You know, honestly, that's probably worth getting because it's exactly the same. It's identical. So, in fact, let's just click on that and just have a look at what their dimensions say. They should have dimensions written there. Oh, look at that. Does that look familiar to anyone? Awesome. Ah, there we go. So, yep. So I don't even think I'd even bother. I may as well have a look at the dimensions. So, blah, blah, blah. But we want to make sure the volts is right. Condensator. Okay, is that just like another word for capacitor? I didn't know that. Well, they're saying capacitor and constant. Yeah, okay. All right, sorry, I'm just gibbering. Applied applicable voltage, 220 VAC, 230 VAC, and up to 500. So that's perfect. Excellent. So that's exactly what we're after, but it doesn't actually have the dimensions anywhere. They normally write the dimensions down. I don't think it doesn't matter. Here we go. Total length of the capacitor is 70 mil. It'd be good if I had a ruler in here. Hang on, let me just go and grab a ruler. So what are they saying? So they're saying total length of the capacitor with the terminals is 70 mil and the diameter is 25. So we got our capacitor. What's that? About 66 mil with the terminals. And it is definitely 25 millimeters wide. So that's perfect. So if we can't find anything that's actually cheaper, we'll have to get this. So I am just going to keep scanning down here. Wow, look how much these things cost. These motors are like $1,000 each. I mean, that's probably a more updated, newer model, but still, $837. Wow. Wow. Man, that's crazy expensive. Okay, so... yeah, so I'm just looking at this ad again. Yeah, so the 3,3 is what I thought, 3.3 UF. I'll just have a look at that. They've got they've even got the terminal measurements there, so I'll just quickly measure that. That should be 3 mil. One, two, three. Yep. In fact, I'm going to grab my calipers. Well, there you go, guys. You saw how easy that was. All I did was just go in, jump on eBay, type in something capacitor, and we just had heaps of them at our fingertips. So do yourself a favor. Listen, don't just, if you've got a Technics screen, don't think that it is automatically going to be a 3.3 microfarad capacitor. Make sure you open it up first, get in the motor, pull it out, and just confirm that. Because you don't want to get it here and maybe your motor is different to the motor that's in my screen. It just means you can't be prepared. You can't pull it out, stick a new capacitor in, put it on the wall. Your screen's going to have to sit there for a while until it gets delivered. But yeah, there you go. You know, I'm a little bit disappointed. I've been thinking about it, and great guys at Technics. I really like them. They helped me. The customer service was excellent. But the more I think about it, I hate this kind of throwaway society we live in, and that's what they're promoting. I know they're a business and they just want to sell you stuff, and they want to sell you stuff. But to sell you a motor for $400, because that's what it would cost. This thing is heavy. That $350 they quoted me wasn't including delivery, and probably wasn't even including GST. But to sell you a motor for $400 when your motor isn't even broken, I just think that's, you know, really poor form. I don't want to get into it too much. You know, I don't want to. I'm not doing a review on these things, but I'll tell you one thing. I was doing a comparison between the screen that I have, the one that I'm keeping. It's already in the ceiling. I had that wound down behind the one that we were watching Greenland on just earlier. And I'll tell you now, there was not a single bit of picture quality difference. They both looked amazing. In fact, I actually call that cheaper screen, the one that I bought for $50. I call that an eBay screen, and I call it an eBay screen because I've got a couple of other friends who have a screen identical, no markings or branding on it at all. That guy might have bought it for $1,650, but he bought it from you know, one of these AV shops in the city, and you know what the markup there is. So that's essentially an eBay screen. But what I was going to say is I did a comparison. I actually had that screen down halfway and my Technics down all the way, and I couldn't see any difference in the picture quality. So this is 10 times the price of that screen. In fact, the eBay screen had the edge, because the Technics screen had all these little sparkly hot spots, they're like tiny little lens flares on the screen. They're almost like pixel size, but they were so bright in certain scenes that they were pretty annoying at times. I'm sure you probably can get a bottle of touch-up paint where you can go over each one, but that's not the point. What I'm trying to say is if you've got one of these screens, you've done the right thing. You've bought locally. Trying to support an Australian business, which is fantastic, by the way. The least they can do is sell you one of these things, you know. If it was me, if I ran Technics, I would be throwing them for free at people, saying, listen, I'm sorry that's happened. I know you've had it for 10 years or so, but please take this and just, here's some instructions. It only takes you an extra 2 minutes once you've got the motor out. just stick this in there, because that's what it would take. I've done it in my head. I reckon once the motor's out, now that I know what I'm doing, I could get to that capacitor in probably 2 minutes. So yeah, we know what to do now. So please don't buy a complete motor to replace your good motor, because there's nothing wrong with the motor. It's all this little component. Spend the $33. I know I was like, oh, 33 bucks, but it's worth getting a genuine one. You know, it's got the right kind of spade bits here. They're the right size. They fit into this kind of, you know, the wire that plugs on them. It's going to be a plug and play kind of thing. You know, it's not dangerous at all. God, not at all. You're not doing any soldering. You don't have to have any skills. It's just pull it apart, take 2 minutes to pull it apart, stick a new one in. Bob's your uncle. And actually, Bob is my uncle. I've got an Uncle Bob in San Francisco. Anyway, back on track. Listen, what am I going to do with this screen? Well, I'll tell you, I'm not sure. I'm not going to throw it out, but I'm also not buying a new capacitor for it. Listen, and the reason I say that, 30 bucks is nothing. If it was just the capacitor that I had to replace for this screen, I would definitely replace that. But the fact is, I have to also buy myself an IR receiver. I have to buy myself a remote control. And if I'm a really nice guy, if I want to sell this later, I should really sell it with some wall mounting brackets. There's an extra $200 just there. So I'm looking at an extra $400 plus if I want to get this going. Not to mention, I'd have to buy a brand new one of these. I'm not throwing it out. What I plan on doing is, you know that I've got one for myself in the ceiling. What I'm going to do is I'm going to order one of these. I'm going to stick the brand new one in mine. I'm going to pull the old one out of mine, which is still good. It's got heaps of juju in it. It works fine. I'm going to pull that one out and stick it in here. And then what I'll do is I will set this aside somewhere. I'll put it somewhere, store it, and I will wait until I see a cheap one come up on Facebook Marketplace or you know, Gumtree, eBay even. I mean, you can get, it doesn't have to be the same size. It can be something really small, as long as it's got the remote control, as long as it's got the IR receiver, and hopefully it might have some wall mount brackets that would fit this as well. So that's what I plan on doing. But yeah, it's a shame, but I'm not throwing it out. We'll get it going, and I'll eventually, you know, move it along, give it to you know, I've done too much work to this screen. I've actually, you saw the other video, I shortened this screen. It's now a 137-inch 16:9 screen, and it looks fantastic. So somebody will really use this in the coming years, however long it takes me to get it going, but I'll fix it up, and we'll get it going. It's not going back to the tip. Okay, so how are we going to go for the rest of this video? Well, I'm going to call it here. It's gotten too long. It's way too long. We're over an hour now. I really did want to put all of this stuff back together in this video, but hey, listen, we won't do it in this video. What we will do is I will do another video putting this thing back together. I will actually publish it at the same time that I publish this video. So if you're watching this video now, there is a continuation to this video in probably, just click on the next one that comes up. So yeah, I'm not like one of those DIY channels that say, you know, we've pulled this thing apart, just put it back together in the reverse order. Because a lot of the time it's not that easy, you know, it can be quite frustrating and confusing to a lot of people. And remember, we had that problem where we actually pulled this bracket out and we pulled the whole tube and it fell off whatever it was mounted at that end. So that's something else that we have to learn and work out how to fix. So we're going to do that in the next video, as well as putting everything back together again. And what I was thinking I might do is let's maybe get the motor put all back together and maybe time ourselves, or myself, pulling it apart now that I know that, listen, I don't have to pull that off, I don't have to pull that off, I don't have to pull that off, and I don't have to pull whatever that is. It's like a bit of packing or something, and I don't have to pull that off. So now that I know it's going to be a lot easier, let's actually time ourselves doing it, and just to get the capacitor out, and let's see how we go doing that. But I guess, thanks for watching, guys. I know this has been a really long video. Again, I tend to do these long ones, but I think it's important that people see step by step. It kind of makes it easier for people, and yeah, when people see these little in-between pieces, it can really help people and, you know, inspire them more so to give something like this a go. And do it. You don't need too much inspiration. It's probably 2 minutes more work to get the capacitor out. Do not buy a new motor, please. But hey, listen, you know I'm doing this home cinema build. It's called Ant's Super Cinema. If you like this kind of stuff, you know, please subscribe. I'd love to see, you know, show you guys and get some inspiration from you guys. I want to ask people some questions. At the moment, I've got hardly any subscribers. This is like a new channel, so it'd be great to get like a bit of a base that of, you know, like-minded people. But hey, listen, thanks for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.